This is the piece of wood that goes at the bottom of the rudder. It doesn't seem to have any kind of seating in it. I have made a new stainless steel rudder shaft, and I have used the lathe to make it sort of not exactly pointed but domed on the end. So I'm thinking that if I put a stainless steel bolt through here, shortened it a bit, then if I drill a hole in here, that stainless steel seating in stainless steel will be a good thing. So that's what I'm going to do now. But before drilling it, I'm just going to turn off where it says A2. Right, so we've now got a flat top to that bolt. Right, so here we have the hole, and I think that's going to be quite good. Sufficient to locate it, sufficient to support it. Yeah, that's going to be fine. Well, here is the new rudder that I've cut. It's of enormous size because we can always make it smaller, but not bigger. This slot here is intended to accommodate movement around this piece of wood, which is the base of the rudder shaft, and the rudder shaft will then fit like this. And what I'm thinking is that if we have it like that, then I need a bracket here and a bracket here to fix the rudder to this stainless steel shaft. Now I have got 3 small pieces of stainless steel, which are 0.8 millimeters, 1 millimeter and 1.5 millimeters, and they're pretty rigid. So I'm thinking I'll try using the 1 millimeter one and try wrapping it around that. If I take a strip of this, wrap it around there, and then braze it on. That's my plan anyway. Well, I've bent 2 strips of 1 millimeter stainless steel like that, and I'm thinking that they'll go roughly like that. And this bracket that I made earlier, or that actually is Roger's bracket, but with my seating, is going to go there. So the plan now is to mark these 2 points and braze these 2 things on. As I've never done any brazing in my life, this should be interesting. Well, here I am about to braze or silver solder the rudder components. This is possibly one of the maddest things I've done. I've got the rudder shaft here with two brackets that I've made up, and I wanted to solder them or braze them from the top downwards so that I could see what I was doing, and so I've rigged up this incredibly Heath Robinson arrangement whereby the brackets are suspended from the ceiling. They seem to be in alignment, and I've got this old cylinder of MAP gas that's been in my workshop for more than 10 years. Some Silverflow 55 brazing rods and some flux. So we'll see what happens. I bought this tiny silver soldering kit from Silver Alloys Norwich, I think they're called, on eBay, which consists of some Johnson Matthey's Silverflow 55 rod and Easy Flow flux. Flux is quite expensive if you buy a great big box of it, and I thought, well, I'm only going to be doing a little bit, so I'll try this. This Silverflow 55 is mainly silver, but with some copper, zinc and tin in it. Has a melting point between 630 and 660 degrees C. And it says suitable for seawater applications. So that's why I'm using it. The flux is a white powder, and it says on it, do not inhale. So I think they're expecting me to put some in my and snort it, but no, we're just going to use it for brazing. Beginning to melt. Well, let's use half a brazing rod. Well, I've cleaned one of them mechanically and left the other one as it was. It's obviously awkward to clean mechanically in this space. I think what I'm going to do is boil this in a kettle descalant and see what happens. Apparently what I should have done is quenched it immediately after brazing in cold water, but I didn't think to do that. Well, my kettle needed descaling anyway. This stuff says contains formic acid and additives. I have no idea whether that will do what I want. With the stainless steel, that is. Oh, no, no. a bit of a problem. Anyway, we'll give that something to think about. Good thing I'm not... I don't think it's having any effect at all on the rudder shaft. But we'll leave it in there for a while. Maybe I'll turn the electricity off. Not really any better, is it? However, the kettle is descaled, so something is achieved. Well, those chemical methods didn't clean it, but I've cleaned it mechanically. Of course, it's not so easy to clean inside, but I think it looks all right. There's the other one. And the idea is that it will go like that. That seems to be okay. What I need now is some bolts that are absolutely flush. Bolts and nuts that are flush, so that we don't create unnecessary drag on this thing. And that's my next task, is to get those. Doubt if I can get them. Maybe I'll have to make them up on my lathe. Any excuse is a good one. Roger may be disappointed that I haven't reused his original rudder gear, which is here. Something had been cut out of this to allow for a wind vane rudder, which we're not using, so I was going to have to replace this anyway. I couldn't find another nylon breadboard, which I think is what this came from. What I did find was a plastic one, which is thinner. So I thought, also with this one we had this problem of electrolytic corrosion between the brass tube and this steel, which is not stainless steel. So I thought there's an opportunity here to reduce the weight and make it all stainless steel. So here's Roger's one, 174 grams, brass and steel. This is the new one, 110 grams, all stainless steel, and a slightly thinner rod, because I decided that this isn't an enormously hefty thing, it's not got enormous stress on it. Why have a thick rod when you can have a thin one? So that's the idea, and of course it goes like that. So this is the final version of the thing that supports the rudder at the bottom. I have mounted this bolt that I've cut the hole in more or less flush with the wood, with a stainless steel nut on the bottom and a bit of araldite for belt and braces, and it will go like that. I spent days and days of hard work clearing out my garage, trying to get enough space to work in with this boat. And here we are after all this effort. I've still got all this junk in here, despite taking several trips to the dump, putting things on eBay and God knows what, and then I've got all this out here in the drive. God knows what I'm going to do with it. It's driving me nuts. What I need is a large aircraft hangar. And I might have room to move.